Today's episode of Titus and Tate is brought to you by Discover, and now a message from Discover about customer service and common sense. When you have credit card questions, it's nice to have them answered by a real person. You know, someone who can actually understand your issues and work to resolve them. In other words, what you don't need is a robot, and that's why Discover offers helpful U.S.-based representatives available 24/7. No wonder we call it live customer service. Discover, exceptionally common sense.
On today's episode of Titus and Tate, scientists are stumped, Tate. They cannot figure this out. As the temperatures continue to plummet all across America, the weather is getting cold.
Yes.
But the Coach K farewell tour is heating up. It makes no sense. We can't draw the connection. We don't know how it's happening.
I cannot believe we're here. I really cannot believe we're here. I thought that there's literally no way that this happens in the final season of Coach K. He wouldn't be himself, his new formed version of himself if he let himself stoop so low. But Michael DeVoe, all it took was 1 point.
Yep.
And the rest was history. I can't wait to talk about it. It's going to be fun.
Coach K is scolding opposing players.
He's back.
Yet again. He's addicted to pointing his finger at opposing players.
I think he's coming back for one more year.
Speaking of heating up, the National Player of the Year race is certainly heating up with Johnny Davis. Pulled off the impossible. We were recording the last show we did, the Purdue-Wisconsin game was going on as we were recording, and I don't know what happened, man. Like I kept saying over and over, there's literally no way Purdue could lose this. Shoot. Dang it.
Yeah, there were a lot of people that thought you were being genuine about that, I think.
So I was, dude. I'm a Purdue booster.
Yeah,
it really broke my heart to watch Purdue lose a match.
Johnny Davis.
Yeah. Johnny Davis had 37 points, though, and is certainly the talk of college basketball the last couple of days of just how good he's been. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll talk National Player of the Year stuff because E.J. Liddell had it in the bag. Paolo Banchero had it in the bag after Gonzaga.
Yes.
Then E.J. Liddell had it in the bag after Ohio State beat Duke. Now Johnny Davis, where do we stand, Tate? We got to make sense of all this. Also, we're recording this at Thursday morning, but whatever, screw it. We're doing Fraud Friday anyway. It is Fraud Friday. I have a very, very...
When you're listening, it's Friday.
Yeah, most people listening are probably it's probably Friday. So we're going to do a very in-depth fraud power rankings this week. I have a lot to cover. And a Pac-12 update as well. It's a loaded show, man. So all that's coming up. But first,
Woody Durham.
He takes the timeout. Technical foul. Technical foul. Technical foul.
all right, we're gonna start with Coach K, right? I think that's where we have to start. That's where we always start. We don't talk about it much on the show, so I don't know how in depth you want to get. Like usually, these sorts of things, Coach K farewell tour, anything related to Duke, we try to just kind of keep it over there, just quickly
Move
get through it.
Yeah.
Because we understand how polarizing Duke can be, and like I don't know. It's just a topic we try to stay away from. But you came in today and you're like, I would like to, if it's okay with you, Titus, I would like to talk about Coach K and what happened in the Georgia Tech game. And usually I would not be game for this, but I'm going to make an exception. I'm going to let you explain to the people what happened here.
Well, PTI, they would always do that game where it was like a word that would, there would be an incident and there would be a word to describe it. You know what I mean? And they would all give their one word and then they would.
Like Kornheiser would always make up a word.
Yeah, exactly. And then they would just, go on and banter off. So my word for what happened is I'm flabbergasted. I'm absolutely flabbergasted.
Stunned.
I did not think that Coach K would ever go back to the Dylan Brooks days. I really didn't. I thought when Dylan Brooks happened, he said to himself, wait a second, I can't chase down the player on the opposing team that's beating me and call them
remind
out.
Everybody what the Dylan Brooks situation was. But I mean, like I know most people listening know.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember this, Oregon, Dylan Brooks playing in Oregon, they're playing in the NCAA tournament. Oregon is waxing Duke, poetic.
Yes. And
Dylan Brooks is letting anyone within range hear how he feels about waxing Duke poetic. Coach K is within earshot, and then basically reprimands him after the game, says, you're better than this.
Yes.
You're better than this was the exact quote. He says he never says that. Dylan Brooks, after the game, confirms that is exactly what he said to him. There's a tape of Coach K. You can read his lips. He goes, you're better than this. You're better than this. So that all happens.
The ultimate irony being that Dylan Brooks was basically his career at Oregon. He was basically the Grayson Allen of the West Coast.
Yes.
Is what he was tripping guys. He was starting shit with other fan base. Like he was. If you paid attention to Pac-12 basketball, the way people felt about Grayson Allen, the people in the Pac-12 felt that way about Dylan Brooks.
Absolutely.
And then now Coach K is pointing his finger. And
which was why it was hilarious because Coach K had indefinitely suspended Grayson for tripping. And then a guy who was in the same sort of world as Grayson Allen does this to his team, and then he has something to say about it. He's upset about the way he behaves, yet not able to see it on his own team and address that. So that was the irony of the situation. We all laughed. We all moved on. We thought this would never happen again. There's no way this will ever happen again until Georgia Tech, the welder, came to town, to Cameron Indoor. All things are going okay. Duke's up in this game. It's a little tighter than you'd expect, but Duke's up in this game. And Georgia Tech makes a little run. And Coach K decides to stop this run, as he's prone to do. He's going to call timeout. 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 And as he's doing that, and he's doing the T for timeout, Michael DeVoe, guard for Georgia Tech, points at K, points at the bench. I think he points at K. Basically say, like, gotcha. They're calling timeout. They're worried. They're scared.
That's what it was.
Maybe said something.
Yeah.
But he pointed, and K snapped. Just like that. The Coach K that we all know and love came back to light, and he decided, not only am I going to have to address this situation, I'm going to have to chase this man down. and Coach K, it's the fastest he's moved in 5 years. He's going after Michael DeVoe, which is, I think, good news if you're a believer like I am that he's going to come back next year. Looks spry. He's going after DeVoe. DeVoe gets out of the way. Ref intervenes. Now K's, lambasting the ref. And it was just a moment of, one, clarity, and two, shock.
Yeah.
I was shocked to see this, but also at the same time, I felt like we got the real Coach K back.
Well, how did this happen? How did DeVoe is just basically saying, that's your interpretation. Gotcha. Like whatever. Do we know what he said? Did he say what he said?
I think he sees Coach K call timeout, which means they're trying to stop a run of ours.
Yeah.
AKA, y'all got to call a timeout to stop me. I'm too hot. Take that. It's kind of like the takeaway that I got. Again, I'm just reading body language in the situation.
I'll defend K because I'm very impartial when it comes to Coach K. I definitely will. I see both sides. You know this. I guess like a guy talking shit to your bench, like I don't love it. I don't love it. I wouldn't love it either.
Pointing at my coach, I don't love.
I wouldn't love it.
Yeah.
If I was Coach K, wouldn't love it. If I was Coach K, I also one thing I wouldn't do is like run onto the court and try to find another player.
Which is
I
amazing.
wouldn't do that either.
Yeah.
So that's where he loses me. I guess like I don't know. Like I guess
he could have been the victim. He could have been like, look at this player who is showing no respect to me in my final season. He has no respect for the game. He has no respect for the Duke basketball program. He has no respect for Cameron Indoor.
Don't say anything. Step back. Let the moment speak for itself. And then all of us, maybe we're doing the show.
And I'm saying Michael DeVoe, like, bad guy.
More respect. Where's your respect?
Yeah.
Michael DeVoe.
And that's where we were.
Yeah.
Until Coach K, it hit him so quickly. Like it washed over him so quickly. Like he went immediately from timeout, stop this run, to, did he just do what I think he did? You know what I mean? He did. Is Wayne Brady going to have to choke somebody? Like that was the moment for Coach K, and he was immediately gone.
It kind of is the one thing he could not do is score.
It was like quite literally, if John Shire and Nolan Smith had a meeting before the season with Coach K, I think they had like do's and don'ts, and I think
the farewell tour
might have had like two over here. And number one was don't limbass or chase a player. You know what I mean? Don't chase down a player or threaten a player this season.
The Coach K farewell tour. So Duke goes on pause, a COVID pause for a little bit of time. They are now back, obviously. And now that they have resumed playing, the Coach K farewell tour cannot be lined up any more perfectly.
Yes.
That Duke has not won a regular season ACC title in 12 years. The ACC is horrible. We might talk about it later. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe we might not even talk about it.
Let's never talk about it.
Let's never talk about the ACC.
Just throw it away.
The ACC is horrible.
Yes.
Duke is the one shining light if you're in the ACC offices that you're like, thank God we have Duke, because if we didn't have Duke, we'd have nothing.
It's kind of like you're at Azkaban and you're like, thank God we have the Dementors. You know what I mean? At least we got something.
Yes. It's all lining up for Duke. And Coach and Duke has a team good enough to win a national title. It's not just about the ACC race. It's that Paolo Banchero could go number 1 potentially, could win National Player of the Year. Wendell Moore might be an All-American. You could theoretically have 2 first-team All-Americans playing for Duke right now. It is all lined up.
And the ACC Freshman of the Year in Trevor Keels.
That's right.
I think they should split up all the awards.
Trevor Keels wins Freshman of the Year.
Yeah.
Paolo Banchero wins ACC Player of the Year. Wendell Moore wins National Player of the Year.
Bang.
Boom. That could happen. That's the world we're living in. And all Coach K has to do is just like step back. Just kind of like let it happen. Like the machine has been built. Let the machine go and just kind of watch. Just let it go. The media is going, as we've said, like Billis, who has been impartial, and I genuinely think Jay has done an awesome job his whole career of like calling Duke games. He'll call Duke Carolina and he'll praise Carolina at times, and he's been that way. This year throws that out the window. he's going to do 7 sit-down interviews with K. Like we all saw where this was going, and the only thing K has to do is just not point his finger in the face of opposing players and create a situation where guys like you and I can shit on him in his final season. Which maybe you're right. Maybe he's coming back. Maybe he's like, the Coach K farewell tour did not go as I wanted. Maybe Duke does not get tested the way. Maybe like everyone's sucking in the ACC. We talked about this. Maybe they're not tested. Maybe they lose in the second round because like they haven't played a real team all season. And Coach K looks at everything and is like, you know what? Let's try that again.
Yeah.
This time I need more praise and I need a better NCAA
more bowing.
Run. Yeah.
I need more bowing, more praise, more all the above. I think the craziest part of this whole exchange is because it is very Dylan Brooks in the sense that Coach K never addressed this.
Yeah.
In his press conference.
Right.
He never says anything about this.
Yeah.
Again, shout out to the journalists at Duke. No one asked him about it. They like let him slide on it, so he doesn't even get asked, so he doesn't even have to address it. And then on the flip side of that, Josh Pastner and Michael DeVoe are asked the questions about the incident. Michael DeVoe grew up a Duke fan, so he comes out and says that he's like, "Look, I grew up a Duke fan. My emotions got a little high. I kind of just snapped for a second and." And then they asked him, they said, what did Coach K say to you? And Coach K obviously says he didn't say anything. People around him, Coach K said nothing. Michael DeVoe says, he said, you don't know who you're talking to. That was the quote. You don't know who you're talking to, as he chases him down on the court. So it's not only the action of it, it's like exactly what you expect, according to Michael DeVoe, what you expect him to be saying, which is basically like, you're talking to the
guy,
GOAT.
the GOAT, yeah,
and we do not take kindly to that, and I am going to make sure that you hear about this.
So I'll defend K again, and maybe that's not what he said. Maybe Michael DeVoe. I don't know. You got to hear both sides, right? So like, who knows if that's what?
Well,
he
we
said.
will never hear the other side. So I'm telling you the one side that is spoken about.
But what I would say is, I'm not sure what K could have said if K didn't say that. If Michael DeVoe's lying and he's trying to make himself look better, which I don't know the story. I'm just devil's advocate here. What could K have said where you're like, oh, okay, in that case, I get it. The answer is like nothing. There's nothing.
I expected more profanity. You know what I mean? Just the fact that it was so pure and so genuine that he was like, you can't do this. And Josh Pastner after the game, I mean, he said no player should ever talk to the opposing coach. I agree with that. I think Michael DeVoe was in the wrong from the jump.
I think so too.
Until the reaction. And we have to judge the reaction. And the reaction is insane. It is insane. And it is the definition of like just being who we thought you were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. And that was the one thing, like everyone in the office and the Duke athletic department, when they saw that happen, they're like, oh no.
Yeah,
this is the one thing we didn't want to see.
They have it written up on the board with the they're tracking all the Instagram followers.
Yes.
In college basketball. You remember that when they did that?
Number one, man. They're number one.
They did the doc for the Zion RJ Barrett team, and they showed the board where they have the most Instagram
to let all the
followers.
People know, all the followers, the growing followers.
Michael DeVoe, though, honorary Boo brother. Are you
I think
saying
so.
I think so too. I think I do love that he said he grew up a Duke fan, and he's like, listen, I'm not gonna just sit here and kiss this man's feet. Like, we're trying to beat his ass, and I love that.
Yeah,
that's the whole point of the Boo brother campaign, which is that you've hated this man forever. Don't now pretend to show respect and love him. So shout out Michael DeVoe. I don't like him pointing at K. In all honesty, I don't. He shouldn't have done that. He could have like talked smack to the bench somehow, like not at Coach. I don't know.
Pointing at Coach K is a bridge too far, but Coach K reacting the way he did, I'm shocked.
That's worse. Yeah,
I can't believe he did that.
Yeah.
I can, but I also can't.
Yeah,
like I thought that he learned I thought he learned not to snap, but he broke. You know what I mean? And who would have thought that Josh Pastner's team and Michael DeVoe would be the ones that get him? You know what I mean? I figured it'd be like Caleb Love, or like some sort of like Carolina Duke. He's really high. You know, he's got like the red face because, you know, it's not going so well early and then he snaps. But to have this regular season game against Georgia Tech, I think we're not done.
I don't think so, because maybe the ACC sucking actually sets up for more of this, because all the teams playing Duke have nothing to lose, basically.
Exactly.
So Duke basically has to beat every team they play in the ACC,
and
or
they
it's
get
going
the
to be
best
a bad
shot
loss
of every team in the ACC.
Yes, and everybody, that's their one chance. You take a team like Florida State, who's been very disappointing all season. Maybe they beat Duke and they talk themselves into, now we can make the NCAA tournament. So they're going into the Duke game where they're going to get the best shot every single night, and they're going to. This is going to be awesome. I'm so excited.
I don't know how it ends, but I do know that like the journey along, like this is going to be one of many blips. You know what I mean? The fact that he's already cracked, because at the end of the day, there's no repercussions for him, you know, doing this. Like, it's not like anything happened because of it. He's fine. Duke's fine. And if another player follows this same path as Michael DeVoe, like, I'm here to embarrass Coach K and Cameron Indoor, I'm trying to win this game, he's going to snap again.
But all is well that ends well for K, in the sense that ultimately the only thing that matters is the NCAA tournament. And if Duke goes to the Final Four, it doesn't matter how many opposing players he points at this season or whatever. He's still the winner, you know, because like just imagine that run up to the Final Four, that media week of, you know, and we go to the New Orleans and it's just one after, like,
Duke's going to get to the Elite Eight no matter what. So you should already start your bases on the season as thinking like Duke's in the final 8 of the season.
And then what?
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and the same with Zion. It was like, we know they're going to get to the Elite Eight because the path is going to be paved for that to happen. Yeah. And then what do they do from there? And that'll be interesting.
I guess that's it. That to me is when we might actually see K crack, is when he's got an 11 seed in the Elite Eight he's playing. And it's the path. It is wide open.
He's playing Memphis.
He's playing Memphis, and he's like, "This is easy."
And Larry Brown's coaching against him.
Penny's been suspended by Memphis because he punched one of his players or something
in the second round game. Yes.
Now Larry Brown's coaching, and Kay's just laughing like, "This is a
layup for me."
This is a layup.
And then somehow Larry Brown coaches the game of his life.
And Amadi Bates is pointing at Kay the entire game. That's the press conference I want to see.
Yeah,
that's
me
the
too.
Press conference I want to see. Let's move on. I want to talk about Wisconsin and Purdue quickly. It happened a couple days ago as we were recording our show. As I said at the top, but we have to talk about Johnny Davis and Purdue really, because is Purdue falling apart? I don't know. Their defense sucks. I will say that, and maybe we can talk about that in a second. But the real story is Johnny Davis, who had 37 points in Mackey Arena, 27 in the second half. Tate. This dude averaged 7 points a game last year and is now leading the country in scoring. He's unstoppable. He hits. He's a freak athlete. He is smooth as hell. It has been a ton of fun to watch him. And as I said at the top, the National Player of the Year race is getting juicy because Paolo Banchero was who was the original National Player of the Year? Drew Timme, right?
I think Drew Timme.
It was Drew Timme.
Yeah.
He was the preseason guy. And then Paolo goes nuts against Gonzaga. He becomes the guy. EJ Liddell becomes the guy. Now I do feel like the momentum is behind Johnny Davis. There's a ton of basketball left to be played. But it's interesting that we're here now, and the National Player of the Year race is pretty wide open, isn't it? Because you could throw in like Keegan Murray at Iowa is
great.
Unbelievable.
Going to be a top 10 pick, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Him and Johnny Davis are having very similar stories.
Like arcs, in their career.
Last year, they were kind of...
We saw flashes of it last year for both of them, where like they would have these moments, you're like, man, that guy's pretty interesting. But they took the leap a lot quicker than I think we expected.
Yeah, but they were both playing behind like 30 seniors. Yeah. So they couldn't really flourish. And then you get all those guys out of the way, and now all of a sudden they're blown up. Do you know that they both have twin brothers that aren't as good on the... Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
Keegan Murray and Johnny Davis both have twin brothers that are on... Johnny Davis has a brother on Wisconsin. Keegan Murray has a twin brother on Iowa that just aren't as good as they are.
But that's
Isn't
also
that wild.
It's also like a good formula, you know what I mean? And not just the twin, but to have your brother on the team that's not as good. I think of like Taylor and Blake Griffin, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It almost fires you up a little bit.
Were they twins?
They weren't twins.
They weren't twins.
But I think Taylor was a little bit
thing.
older, but just brothers.
So So, but they also both like averaged like 7 points a game last year. Now they're averaging like 25 or something close to it. It's been crazy. But you got Keegan Murray. Don't forget about Kofi Coburn, who's been an absolute monster.
Sleeper.
This is just only the Big Ten, by the way. The Big Ten might get 4 first-team All-Americans, and I say that as a Big Ten homer just to, get under the skin of everyone listening.
Johnny Davis, right now, it's not crazy to say he's going to be the first-team All-American.
Yeah.
And he's obviously in the National Player of the Year conversation, but I think the casual fan hears that, and they're like, who? Who is this guy? What are you talking about? And I think the Maui Invitational actually not being in Maui hurt Johnny Davis getting the Maui bump.
That's right.
You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Like if he was in Lahaina and putting up 30 points on Houston and we were at the game, we would have.
I'd still be talking. That'd be all I'd be talking about.
We'd be calling him Johnny Basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it would be a whole thing.
That's all I'd be talking about.
Exactly.
But yeah, so you got those 4 dudes in the Big Ten. Don't forget about Jaden Ivey, who I haven't given up on yet, but his defensive effort is suspect, and he needs to get knocked down a peg or two and build his way back up. But Agbaji could be National Player of the Year still.
Yeah.
Matherin, don't sleep on him at Arizona. We talked about Wendell Moore, Paolo Banchero. Jabari Smith.
Did you mention EJ Liddell? I mean, I think he's still in the conversation. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's interesting to me because as I was thinking about like where the National Player of the Year race stands right now, and again, it's way too early to be doing this, but at the same time, it is funny because every time someone has a big game, they're like, "Is he your guy now?"
Is the Kinjo in there from Baylor?
He could be. I mean, I think
I just feel like the number one team in the country has to have somebody in the conversation, but do they at the same time? You know, but I guess if you have to throw in the de facto person, I guess
he'll get in there just based off of that. Like the best player on the best team. Yeah, the best player on the best team always finds his way there. But what was interesting to me is I was thinking through like guys as I was handicapping the National Player of the Year race in my own head. I have no idea how Vegas has it, but like I was just kind of making a list of guys that I think have a shot. A lot of the preseason first-team All-American guys who aren't even that bad this year, but they just like didn't come to mind. Like Drew Timme doesn't come to mind to me. I don't think Drew Timme's going to win National Player of the Year.
No.
I think if you're betting on Drew Timme, just light your money on fire. I think it's done because Gonzaga, like the only way he could win it is that he dominated the non-conference and then rides that momentum all through the
he's already missed his window.
He missed his window. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. Johnny Juzang, fair or not, UCLA going on a COVID pause for 4.5 months. God, he missed his window. Johnny Juzang, I don't think he'll win National Player of the Year now, no matter how great he is.
Which is going into the season, those were the 2 guys I think that we would talk about. You know, it's Timme or Juzang.
I think Colin Gillespie could. There's a path, but like God, he's got to just be otherworldly in the Big East.
And Villanova's been so up and down. I mean, you know, they get blown out by 20 to Creighton, then you blow out Creighton by 30-some. And, you know, it's just kind of like I can't really keep up. And I think America, you know, they love Colin Gillespie, but they're not riding the National Player of the Year. It had to be a consistent run for him to be that. Yeah.
I think Trace Jackson Davis as well was a first-team AP preseason All-American. Has been great this year for Indiana. I don't think he's going to win. I think like he's kind of missed his window in that like Indiana has some bad losses, and Indiana's not on anybody's radar. Is like I don't know. He's not going to get.
They're in that just like 6 to 10 range in the Big Ten, where like no one's really fascinated by them. Yeah.
He still has a chance in the sense that like a lot of the names we've mentioned as Player of the Year candidates are Big Ten guys. So if like
he go up
if he goes
them,
nuts against Kofi Coburn and then follows it up with a huge game against EJ Liddell, then maybe they play tonight. By the way, EJ Liddell and Trace Jackson Davis.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I don't think it's going to go well for Ohio State.
Indiana's got some guys out, right? Because of COVID protocols?
Do they?
I think so. I think I saw that.
Right.
So there you go. I mean,
all right, we might be back. It just feels like a game Indiana. I don't know. The vibes are off for Ohio State because I
did see that Mike Woodson is wearing a suit.
Yeah, that
was announced. He will be in a suit.
It's at home. It's if the crowd shows up, if the Assembly Hall crowd shows up, it's okay. It's okay. I'm okay. I'm not mad about it. But anyway, there are a lot of dudes in the National Player of the Year race, and I just wanted to point that out because it's been a ton of fun. Who's the guy that right now though for you?
I mean, I think Big O's in the conversation. Oscar Shibwe. I think he's
throw
going
him in there. Why not? I don't think he's gonna.
I don't think he's gonna win it, but I think he's in the conversation just because of. I think that 28 rebound game has stuck with people, or at least is stuck in my head. And
the other thing that's
15
helpful,
and 15 is nice.
Other thing that's helpful for him is how charismatic he is, and how fun he is, and how like he's a media machine in the sense that like Kentucky already, just having Kentucky on the front of your chest already is going to get eyeballs on you, but then. Oscar Shibwe is a fun interview. He's as you say, he's an oddity too. Like getting
he's already
20
got
rebounds
4
in a
games
game
with
is
20 rebounds already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when the Kentucky, the countryside was all torn apart, he went and did his help, and then he said he got the rebounds for the people of Kentucky. Even though he was playing Western Kentucky, I was like, the Western Kentucky people probably wanted Western Kentucky to get those rebounds, but
no, they didn't. They weren't cheering for Western Kentucky.
But it was one of those things where it's like he endeared himself to the general public, which I think plays a factor in this sometimes, the National Player of the Year. So I see him in that conversation. But I mean, Johnny Davis right now is the answer. I think so. Which is pretty wild to say.
So. I think EJ Liddell was. I do think it's just interesting because it is going to ebb and flow like that, and I guess it kind of does every year ish, but not necessarily. Like some guys like have such a big initial start to this. Like Zion's a great example. I mean, all roads lead back to Zion, I guess. But like Zion explodes on the scene, and then everyone was just trying to catch up to him for National Player of the Year the entire season, and it never really happened. So sometimes like stuff like that can happen where guys just like we're always looking to knock whoever's on the top off, but sometimes it's so obvious that we don't do that. And this year is not going to be one of those cases. This year it's going to be whoever has the big game on that night.
Yeah.
Like, is he the National Player of the Year? Is this guy National Player?
It kind of happened in college football. It was the whole year where everyone was trying to find the Heisman, and then eventually Bryce Young was like, I'm the Heisman. And you're like, I guess.
And then everyone's like, I don't want it to be Bryce Young.
I want it to be someone else.
Please don't be Bryce Young.
The whole year, everyone's excited. Alabama's not going to be number one. They might not even make the playoff. And then at the end of the year, they're number one and have the Heisman Trophy winner.
And then CJ Stroud's like, I'll take the Heisman if you guys. And then I'm an Ohio State fan. I'm like, if CJ Stroud wins the Heisman and Justin Fields didn't, God damn it.
Yeah,
like,
what are we doing?
What are we doing here?
What are we doing? And I feel like the only way this feels inevitable is if Duke goes on, like you were saying, in the ACC, they go on some insane run where they win 12 straight games.
Yeah.
Paulo is, dominating, and everyone's like, he's the National Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And it feels a little bit inevitable that Coach K would have the National Player of the Year.
But are they going to cannibalize themselves to Paulo and Trevor Keels and Wendell Moore? Because I could see K doing an old school. The new school K move is to pump the tires of the guy who's going to be your top draft pick. The old school K move is to talk about how Wendell Moore is the best player on the team because he's the heart and soul, and without him, like Paulo and Trevor Keels are flashy, but Wendell Moore is what the engine that
Which
makes
is what
us go.
he did in 2015, and it worked. He talked about Quinn Cook all the time.
Yes.
Justice Winslow's making everything he looks at, and he's like, Quinn Cook, just what a game. What a game. You look at, he's like, Quinn had like 6 points and 6 assists. I guess he's the
guy. Yeah. I don't. It's gonna be. I think Mathurin is.
He's a good,
he's a sneaky one,
and I think like America knows Arizona now.
Yeah,
I really do. I think that Arizona, we know who they are, and we're impressed with how good they play. And I think Mathurin is exceeded all expectations. And when he does things, you're kind of have the wow factor.
Yeah,
a little bit like Obi Toppin. Like you said, we're all trying to find the second guy to shoot to the moon. And I think Mathurin might not be that guy right now, but maybe in 2-3 weeks he is.
We gotta package these stories. I think is how it's got to happen too. Like we got to figure out. Like Agbaji has a good story in that he technically was redshirting his freshman year.
Agbaji.
Then they pulled his red shirt. Remember his freshman year, he started because I think was it Azubuike got hurt, and then they needed like extra bodies, so they pulled Agbaji's red shirt. Anyway, he's an old school college basketball arc of like. Technically was redshirted, biding his time, been there a few years, getting better every year. Now Kansas is a national title contender, and he's leading the
best
way.
player on the team.
Yeah. So that's a fun story. Keegan Murray and Johnny Davis have obvious stories that just grab you. It's like they improve so much over the offseason.
Who's the most shocking name that's not in the group right now? And it has to be someone from Purdue, right? Like it has to be Ivy. I feel like Ivy's the one that, if we did our top two and we had Juzang and Timmy, it's like Jaden Ivey was like number 3 right there. He was the one that was waiting in the wings for us to kind of fall in love with. And it's been a little bit of the opposite.
I think Ivy can get back. I think Travion Williams is sneaky too. Travion Williams isn't going to win National Player of the Year. I think that ship has sailed, but he could. The media loves him, and what's not to love?
Yeah.
But that guy, passing big men, people love.
Mm-hmm.
Like Drew Timme was. That's why people loved him too, is because he was like a big man who was nimble and could
start to break himself every once in a while.
Travion Williams, I could see him sneaking his way back into
Purdue and Duke have the
McDonald-
same
or-
problem, though. They have three guys that are all in the conversation. You know, when you have Edey, Williams, and Ivy, and then you have Moore, Paulo, and, you know, maybe
Right.
Keels or whoever. But, yeah.
I think Purdue's path is Edey's out. You got to get Edey out of there. I'm
He
not
played
talking
well in the
I'm not
second half
talking
against
playing
Wisconsin,
time.
but yeah.
I'm talking if you're the Purdue SID and you're forming a
campaign.
for All Americans. It might end up being Travion Williams, I think, because I think Travion Williams, they're gonna do his like efficiency numbers and his skill set and Purdue loves the Big Ten stat of the day too, that they're gonna point out that he's, of all the players that play the 5, he's third in the country in assists per game, and also
I like the idea of them putting Matt Painter putting Williams back on the bench, and then him winning National Player of the Year from the bench.
Whoa,
That's what I like.
that's a great one.
Because then it's like a team move, and he's better coming off the bench. We talked about this. They had to make the change, you know, when we had Andy Katz on, and we were like, is Matt Painter going to make the move? It's been 4 games, and Travion's been worse starting than he was coming off the bench.
Yeah.
So
I think he should come off the bench.
I think he should come off the bench, and I think he should still be the campaign for National Player
and
of the Year.
he should play more than Edey.
Yes.
Just bring him off the bench.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what Carolina's doing this with Garcia and Manick. It's like Manick hasn't been Garcia's hurt, but Garcia starts and then Manick plays, you know? It's like we check the box so he can say to the NBA scouts, I started, you know, got that handled, and then the best player plays.
I like it. That would be a great story.
National Player of the Year that comes off the
story.
bench. That's college basketball.
That would be a great. Hold on, let me pull this up.
Has that ever happened? There's no way that's ever happened. It would be impossible. Unless like Marvin Williams won National Player of the Year for North Carolina in 2005.
I love this idea.
But I think that's the campaign, because then you have the team involved in the campaign, you know?
Yeah.
It's like he's willing to sacrifice for the betterment of the team, but he's the best player in the country.
Purdue's got to figure out their defense, though, if they're going to – I mean, that is – I don't know. It is shocking to watch Purdue basketball play in Mackey Arena and just not care defensively. That's like shocking for a guy like that. That's all the Purdue fans cared about forever. They'd hold up the board of turnovers forced, and they care about rebounds and charges taken and turnovers forced and hustle. It says play hard on their asses of their. I think it still does. I'm not even kidding. Their practice shorts say play hard on their asses.
They definitely did when we visited. Whatever year, the 2018 or whatever. They definitely had them on the shorts.
I would guess they still have them on the shorts. The Gene Cady had it on the shorts forever, and Matt Painter is the Gene Cady disciple, so I can't imagine he would take play hard off their asses. But it's just crazy to watch Purdue basketball as a guy that's watched a ton of Purdue basketball in my life, to watch them in Mackey Arena. Just like there was one play where Davison had the ball in the corner. It was sort of a dagger. I think Wisconsin was up like 2 or 3, and there's like 2 minutes left, and he throws a skip pass to Johnny Davis on the opposite wing, and Ivy's standing there guarding the guy at the top of the key, and Ivy watches the ball go skip pass all the way across to wide open Johnny Davis, and he kind of like shuffles over there. He does not raise his hand above his waist, and he just stands there as Johnny Davis shoots the ball, and I was like, that is
not the Purdue I know.
That is interesting, to say the least, because I'm just thinking of like every Purdue player I've grew up watching. Like, what would happen if that happened? What Gene Cady would do to them? And Jaden Ivey just watches it go in and is just like, damn, all right, I guess we're down 5 now, and jogs back to the other end.
It's the hard part of when you are, you know, you're the hunted instead of the hunter. You know what I mean? And I think that's been their makeup forever. And we worried when they had all of the hot press coming into the season, you know, can Purdue handle this? But I do think the best thing that's happened to them so far is that maybe people are a little bit off the scent, you know?
Yeah.
And they can kind of, you know, stay in that 3-4 range in the Big Ten and then maybe make a little push.
I think if you're a Purdue fan, you would 100% give up a Big Ten title, give up a season of being ranked number 1. Like, they already got number 1, but I'm talking like, say there's a world where Purdue's ranked number 1 for like 5 or 6 weeks. I think you give all that up. You give up like trying to dominate the Big Ten and all that if it means you go to the Final Four this year. That's a trade you're making if you're a Purdue fan.
Absolutely.
That you finish 4th in the Big Ten this year but go to the Final Four.
I think it's time.
Trade.
I think it's time to have that outlook too. And maybe Matt Painter does have that outlook, so he's tinkering more than he would have in the regular season. He's not just thinking, all right, we got to just buckle up and win these games and then we'll figure it out once we get to the tournament. He's like, let's figure out all these issues prior, so by the time we get to March, We know who we are
Right.
at a wholesale level, and we know what we can do in these situations. And I mean, they're going to get tested in the Big Ten. The teams in the Big Ten and the Big 12 and the SEC are all going to have an advantage, I assume, once we get to the tournament, because they're going to have to play legit games
Right.
before they get to the tournament.
Yes.
I mean, Duke, that's their one problem as we look forward. I mean, how can they
Right.
how can they get prepared for the tournament with this slate of games?
And Big East is there too, I'd say. You know, like
Yeah,
Big
let's give
East
the
will
Big
be
East some
give-
credit. Yeah,
give-
they
Big
won all the
East will-
challenges. Yeah.
The Big East is deep enough. Pac-12 is good. Like we're gonna do
Top
the Pac-12
heavy. Yeah.
in update in a second, but very top heavy. So you could have a run where you make your LA trip and you play USC and UCLA on that weekend
Yeah.
on a Thursday, Saturday. Say that's a tough stretch, but then you turn around and you go to Oregon and play Oregon and Oregon State, and you're like, oh, that was a little easier.
That was better.
Yeah, you play Cal Stanford, and you're like, oh, okay, that's a little.
Cal's looking better though. Congrats to Cal.
Congrats to Cal. Cal is looking better. I would love the Cal basketball account tweets out a graphic that's like Cal. It's a quote. It's a quote. Cal is looking better.
Cal's looking better. Tape Frazier.
Let's take a break and we'll do fraud power rankings. Packed.
Oh, I can't wait. Quick break to get a word from our sponsors. Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. And I bet it can be hard work too. You know what's easy? Bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowner's or renter's insurance along with your auto policy. It's a good thing too because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com.
All right, college basketball fans, are you looking for a daily fantasy option for college basketball? Then you need to try the award-winning app PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. We love it. You love it. Everyone loves it. PrizePicks offers any prop you can think of, from points scored to rebounds, even steals. And PrizePicks allows mixed sports entries. There's a lot of sports going on out there. A lot of sports. Turn on your television. If you've spoken to you've got one of those fancy remotes that you can just speak into, and you say, put on the sports. A lot of results are going to pop up. And the great news with PrizePicks is you can use mixed sports entries. You can do college basketball. You can do college football. You can do pro football. You can do baseball, although probably not right now. Baseball's in a lockout and an off season. But when baseball comes back, you can do soccer. You can do MMA and more. All of our users that deposit and use promo code TNT will receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100. You pick 2 to 5 players and an over-under on their projections, and you can win up to 10 times on any entry, and it's just you versus the projected numbers. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. PrizePicks is safe and offers fast withdrawals. Use the reward-winning app on both the App Store and Google Play, and don't forget to use promo code TNT to receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100. That's promo code TANDT. For 100% instant deposit match. Check out PrizePicks.com. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. Eligibility restrictions apply. See PrizePicks.com for details. And now a message from Discover about rewards. If you're a loyal credit card customer, you should be rewarded for your loyalty, preferably with something that's useful. Like Cashback Match, for instance. Discover matches all the cashback you've earned at the end of your first year. Finally, rewards that make sense. Discover, exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply. All right, fraud power rankings. Let's dive right into it and piggyback on what we were just talking about. I'm going to start at number 5. We were just talking about Purdue. We were just talking about watching a Purdue team in Mackey Arena not playing hard. So at number 5 on the fraud power rankings this week, Mackey Arena.
Oh,
Mackey Arena, an arena that I famously...
Just when the fans thought that they were safe, they were like blaming the team and everything.
Yep.
No, it's on you.
No, it's on you.
It's on you.
An arena that I famously said is my favorite arena in college basketball to just go... How did I
to go to the bathroom.
To go to the bathroom.
Your favorite arena in the country.
To go to the
very
bathroom.
small to go to the
Go to the bathroom. How did I couch it? I remember even when I was like being genuine when I was saying it, I put like 1,000 qualifiers on it. But the parking, because that's how we got to the bathroom part. I was like, it's easy to park, it's easy to get in, it's easy to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, it is a really nice arena.
There's not a bad seat in the place.
Yeah.
It gets loud as hell.
Nice, comfortable seats.
Yes, I think.
Right? If you go lower, if you go lower, they have like the race car.
I think.
Seats,
Yeah, they do. Yeah. The upper ones I think are bleachers.
Yeah, well,
but Purdue fans are on their feet at all times, right? They're supposed to be.
Yeah,
you're not supposed to be sitting down. But I'm putting Mackey Arena on the fraud power rankings. My dad famously said, "Don't forget this: that for as loud as Mackey Arena gets, when things are going well." It can get that quiet when things are not going. You remember when he said that?
I thought it was a really timely roast. You know what I mean?
I think you said no place gets quieter or something.
No place gets quieter. Yeah, he's like it's one of the most
loudest, and
he's like,
nowhere gets quieter.
Of all the places I've been at, like when there's a 12-0 run against the home team, that place gets as quiet as any. Like, what is this?
Tip of the hat.
But Johnny Davis had 37 points. That is the most by an opposing player, Tate. How about this for Big Ten stat of the week? The most by an opposing player since 1985 in Mackey Arena.
Who was that?
I think it was Vincent Edwards of Michigan State. Had not Vincent Edwards. I'm a moron. Vincent Edwards played at Purdue. Jay Vincent, Michigan State, 1985. That's the stat I saw. He had 39, I think. I think that's the Mackey
as soon as you said Vincent Edwards, I thought that Vincent Edwards was senior. You know what I mean? He did it in 1985 and his son went to Purdue.
I was thinking Vincent Edwards because Vince Edwards is a guy who, on that skip pass from Brad Davison to Johnny Davis, would have sent the Johnny Davis shot into the fifth row.
Absolutely.
He would have closed out so hard he would have, as Jaden Ivey just watched it go up. Yeah, it was Jay Vincent of Michigan State, I think, has the record. I think, I don't know, who cares? Point is, it's
been a long time.
It's been a long time. And Mackey Arena allowed a player to come in, and not just any player, a conference foe, a team that Purdue should have beaten, and they allowed a man to score 27 second half points. Also, don't forget, I'm putting Mackey Arena on the fraud power rankings for the role it played in last year's NCAA tournament, which was the most Mickey Mouse NCAA tournament of all time. Led to Oral Roberts going on a run that, like, frankly, great story. Everyone loves it. I love it. I obviously love it.
You loved it.
I love it more than anyone else.
Yeah,
every time I talk about Oral Roberts more than just about anyone. But it was a Mickey Mouse run, and we know that. And in large part,
UCLA's run started in Mackey as well.
It did.
Yeah.
In large part because of Mackey Arena. Oral Roberts happened in Mackey Arena. Roy Williams' career ended in Mackey Arena.
Yeah.
UCLA's run started in Mackey Arena. So I'm just putting Mackey Arena on notice.
Honestly,
number 5 on the front.
I agree. Rankings. After you brought up the Roy Williams thing, I forgot that happened in there. Yeah.
That's the only, not counting Brad Davison beating Roy Williams, because that, again, Mickey Mouse doesn't count.
Doesn't count.
Mackey Arena was the only Big Ten arena that Brad Davison had never won in either. He'd never won a road game at Purdue. He had won on the road at every other school. And
oh man, please put Carolina on the fraud power rankings. I hope they are. I'm gonna put them on there if you don't.
I think in order to make the fraud power rankings, there has to be some idea of like thinking you're good. Dude, you know, so I think that's Carolina.
Can you name another roster in college basketball that has 11 4-star or 5-star players? 11. We have 11. Cannot win a game.
Can't beat Notre Dame.
Can't beat Notre Dame.
At number 4 on the fraud power rankings, John Calipari.
Nice.
Kentucky loses at LSU 65-60. It was a game that it was a pretty sloppy game, if we're being honest. LSU,
no tie in this game, so they had the caveat. Yeah.
LSU plays great defense. Kentucky, Severe Wheeler goes out of the game too, and Ty exits the game, and they kind of have no ball handlers, and it showed down the stretch, especially that final 30 seconds, which was a absolute disaster. So I'm not going to kill Cal too much for that, because the circumstances were against his control, but there's this stat circulating now. There's a lot of the Cal haters are showing their fangs in their claws, Tate, and they're getting excited about the trend that they're seeing here. Kentucky is 1-9 in the last 10 games against ranked teams. Now, you say to yourself, that's interesting, but is that just a reflection of the fact that they sucked so bad last year? Are you basically just telling me again that they sucked last year, and you're just repackaging it to make it seem like there's a concerning trend? Maybe. That's why there's this stat. 23-25 versus ranked teams since the 2015 Final Four loss to Wisconsin. Since the team that was undefeated up into the Final Four lost. Since 2015, Cal is under 500 against ranked teams at Kentucky. Isn't that insane?
Lifetime contract.
That's insane.
That is insane.
That's pretty crazy, right?
I would not have suspected that, given the wins over North Carolina over recent years. But I don't know what the answer is for that. I think Cal would want that stat taken away.
I think so.
I don't think he wants that out in the public. I haven't seen that anywhere else from Kentucky fans, so they're going to be shocked to hear that.
Kentucky was playing well too. So again, I'm not piling on for losing at LSU's a good team. They won the SEC last year, right? I'm pretty sure they did, and they have, if not the number 1 defense in the country, one of the number 1 defenses in the country.
And they have a ton of talent.
They're very, very good basketball team. So there's no shame in losing in Baton Rouge, especially with the guys.
And Will Wade was going crazy, by the way, on the sideline. Will Wade has like he's adopted like an old 80s style like Bob Knight ripoff, like lose his mind on the sideline. So just putting that out there that like, you know, we had the Coach K. Will Wade's going to have his own sort of reaction that happens in the SEC at some point where he like breaks a clipboard or throws a clipboard.
Like I'm going to get ahead of this because we're going to be called hypocrites when that happens and we applaud Will Wade.
Yes.
People are going to say, what's the difference? Why are you applauding Will Wade and shaming Coach K for his antics?
Well, that's who Will Wade is.
That's who Will Wade is.
That's who he wants to be. Yes, exactly. Coach K is trying to be Dean Smith, but he's not.
We value authenticity on this program. That's really it. That's what we love. That's why we love Will Wade. Coach K, Bruce Pearl, not as much.
Yeah.
But Sean Miller.
Sean Miller's like literally on the fence. You know
he's on the. Yeah.
We think that he is showing us who he is, but then also he doesn't. So you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Huh?
Is Kentucky likable, by the way?
I think so this year.
This year's team.
I like their team. I
think
told you when they played North Carolina, by the end of the game, I was pulling for them. I like the way that they played.
Yeah,
I really did. And Oscar's just a lovable guy.
I think it's Oscar. I think that's really what. I think if you took Oscar off this team, like no disrespect to the other guys, there's no one on Kentucky.
I like Kellen Grady though. I mean, I've always liked Kellen Grady from Davidson. So that's the other part. They have some of these guys that I had soft spots for. Severe Wheeler, I liked him in Georgia. So when they're at Kentucky, I feel like I'm pulling for them individually, not Kentucky.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Right. But the team as a whole doesn't pop to. I don't know.
No.
It's hard to put my finger. Like Oscar, obviously, but if you take Oscar off the team, I'm not sure I'm cheering that hard for. There's not a ton of charisma, I don't think. Yeah. But they're likable. I'd say they're likable.
But like Mintz is like a bulldog, you know. I like him. Yeah. You know, there's just certain guys on their team where you're like, I like the way that they play the game. So
isn't it crazy that Kentucky for like how prevalent they've been and this Cal run and all the one and done guys they've had and how Cal has been. We love to joke about him and all that, but they have had very likable teams for like how much. I should hate Kentucky for how they're ranked number one every season, and they're not as good. They a lot of times will get pushed to number one, and then they aren't that great, and you're like scratching your head, how is this happening? And all the extracurriculars that go on with Kentucky should lead me to hate the teams. But I don't know the De'Aaron Fox, like Malik Monk.
That was the team I was about to bring up.
One of my most favorite teams ever.
And when they lost to North Carolina on that shot, I mean, you could see how much it meant to them, you know. And I think that's kind of the craziest part about Kentucky is that the way that it's sold to you is like they're getting these prima donna AAU kids that only care about themselves. But then when you watch them play, they're like bawling their eyes out because they lost this one game. You know what I mean? So it kind of just throws you for a loop a little bit. And I don't know, they've been able to find the right DNA of kids.
I loved Tyrese Maxey too.
I love Tyler Ulis. He was like
Tyler Ulis, Jamal Murray.
Was one of my favorite.
Fun.
And Tyler Ulis was like Muggsy Bogues out there. You know, like I was in love with that team.
Isn't that interesting? Because like I think I've always thought Kentucky and Duke were synonymous in terms of like likability and everything else. They're both just kind of live on their own plane of.
Just being hated, but their rule is like hate us because they ain't us. You know, that's how they live. Duke and Kentucky fans.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Anyway, after saying all that nice stuff about Kentucky, John Calipari, you're fraud number four. Number 3 on the fraud power rankings, Josh Pastner's face shield. This man who was called the Ted Lasso of college basketball last year and leading into this year because he made a COVID pinata. He was wearing a face shield that did absolutely nothing to stop the spread of COVID, but like made him look absolutely hilarious. Georgia Tech wins the ACC tournament. Georgia Tech has the ACC Player of the Year last year. We talked extensively, and Mike Rutherford did as well, and others in ACC world were like, "Oh my God, is Josh Pastner's face shield magic? Is this like?" Mm-hmm. Have we unlocked something with Josh Pastner? I made the argument after last season, Josh Pastner should have retired. He should have just got out of coaching because it was never going to get any better than this. I'm looking very smart right now because Josh Pastner brought back the face shield. We talked ourselves into this being the difference for Georgia Tech this year. This is when they're going to turn the corner. He's going to unlock the magic again. But just like Ted Lasso, season 2, not as good as season 1. And he's 0-2 wearing the face shield.
And it goes back to authenticity, you know what I mean? Because I think that last year, the face shield was made like it was his decision, you know what I mean? It felt like it was something that Josh wanted to do.
Right.
The pinata is something that he wanted to do. They were all wonky. They were all weird. Coach K said they were screwy. So there are very screwy things that he did that are like trying to be funny. And then this year, it felt like he was forced into it. It felt like everyone wanted the face shield to come back, but you can't force the face shield when he doesn't want to be a part of the face shield. And in fact, he doesn't even use the face shield like he did last year. He's like got it up a bunch.
You're right.
It's just not the same.
You're right.
And season 2 is never as good as season 1. The sequel's never good as the first movie, so we understand that, but it's just not the same.
He did. There was this authentic thing from Josh Pastner when he said in the post-game press conference against Duke, I quote, "I never want to die."
Oh, you sent me that. I don't. I didn't even get the context of that.
I don't know.
Like who?
I saw the headline, and it's one of those deals. Jim appreciates this because he said Jim will send me New York Post headlines all the time, and then I'll ask him if he reads the articles. He's like, absolutely not.
Yeah,
He's like,
never.
I just love the headlines. That's what this was to me. Is I just saw a headline.
He gets all he needs out of the headline.
It said Pastner quote, "I never want to die," and I was like, I don't need to click on that.
Yeah.
I don't. I that's all I need to know is just. Pastner said
and counterpoint of the face mask, being a fraud is that he did bring Coach K back. You know what I mean? Like
That's true.
Him having the face mask on got his players so confident that Michael DeVoe was willing to point at Coach K. So in some sense, I would say it did work at some level. You know what I mean? It didn't lead to a win, but it led to good content, which I care more about the content from Josh Pastner's face shield than I do about the
always
wins.
have.
Yeah, always have.
Always have.
Always have.
Number 2 on the fraud power rankings this week.
Woo.
The Bill Self special.
Oh yeah, it's over. It's
yeah,
over,
dude.
I saw
Bill Self. For those who are new to the program, this one snuck up on me. By the way, I didn't even realize the Bill Self special was happening this week until I looked up at halftime, and Kansas and Oklahoma State were tied, I believe. Kansas missed 19, their final 19 shots of the first half, and it looked like the Bill Self special was happening. If you don't know what the Bill Self special is, Bill Self played basketball at Oklahoma State. And has not forgotten where he's come from. And every time Kansas goes to Stillwater, not actually every time, but might as well be every time.
Every time.
Kansas loses at Stillwater. That's always the case. Kansas has run the Big 12 forever up until Scott Drew learned how to coach defense.
Yeah.
And every single year, Kansas would lose like 1 or 2 games in the Big 12. That's it. They would dominate everybody else. And one of those 1 or 2 inevitably would always be the game at Oklahoma State. Even if Oklahoma State wasn't good, they would find a way to lose at Oklahoma State because Bill Self loves his alma mater that much. So every time Kansas goes to Oklahoma State, we circle the game. We say, this is it, the Bill Self special. He's going to choke it away. He's going to tell his boys not to play that hard. He loves where he came from. And it looked like we were setting up for that. Missed 19 shots to end the first half. It was tied at 40 with like 14 and a half to play or something. It was still tied, even a few minutes into the second half, Tate. And then Kansas stepped on Oklahoma State's throat and pulled away. Bill Self, though, is now, I believe, 7-8. He's still under 500.
I was going to say, I knew that he was going to win this game. It wasn't going to be the special because CBB on Fox put out a graphic before this game, and it's like Bill Self's record versus teams in the Big 12, and the team with his worst record was Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
And I saw that before, and I was like, Bill Self follows CBB on Fox. He saw this. He's like, they're getting onto the scent.
Yeah.
I can't lose this year.
Yeah.
I can't throw the game this year.
Or, whoa, how about this? Bill Self knew that Oklahoma State isn't eligible for the NCAA tournament.
So he's like, it's not worth it.
It's not worth
year.
the special.
Yeah.
Because usually
save the special for when they're going to make
part
the
of the Bill Self special is like, I'm throwing my alma mater a big win, so it boosts their NCAA tournament resume.
Yes.
Yeah. And they don't have to worry about this year, so we need this more than they do. That's what it was. So the Bill Self special might be back, actually. I think he realized that at halftime.
Fraud this year, but it will come back.
It'll come back. Yeah. Oklahoma State, by the way, the only Big 12 team to sweep Kansas home and away. Texas did it last year, but Mickey Mouse. The Allen Fieldhouse was empty. Remember when Texas beat the hell out of Kansas?
Remember when Texas was the best team in the country last year?
Yeah.
I think that still blows my mind. I mean, they were obviously the best team in the country, and it was gone.
And it was gone almost immediately. But yeah, Texas did it last year. I don't count it. Put a big fat asterisk.
Yeah,
so the only team that's ever swept Kansas home and away in Big 12 history, or under Bill Self, I mean, is Oklahoma State. So there you go. But the Bill Self special, fraudulent this year.
Coming back next year, though.
Number 1 on the list. I want to go in depth, pretty in depth with this one because I'm noticing a trend in college basketball. And at number 1 on my list of frauds is former players coaching their alma maters.
Oh,
just across the board. So here's the breakdown of where we're at right now. I'm going to tier it for you. I know how much you love the tiers, Tate. So at tier number 1,
I have actual tears running down my face.
We have the NBA guys, the guys who played in the NBA, coached in the NBA, we're just NBA guys, but their alma mater's called, and they said, I'll come back and do this for a alma mater. Juwan Howard, preseason number 4, Michigan's preseason number 4, just lost to Rutgers for the first time in program history. Best win for Michigan this year is probably San Diego State. They are 7-6 on the season. It is not going well in Ann Arbor.
Got blown out by Carolina.
Yes. Juwan Howard, thumbs down for the job he's doing this season.
Yes.
Penny Hardaway, preseason number 12. Memphis is 8-5. Losses to Georgia, Ole Miss, Tulane. They have died 7 different times. They've come back to life 7 different times. We don't know where they're at now, but point is, they're not having the season they expected. Patrick Ewing, 6-5 at Georgetown this year. Losses to Dartmouth and St. John's. That speaks for itself. We move on to teams that you and I are more interested in. Hubert Davis. Carolina's 10-4. We'll get through this quickly together, Tape. Lost at Notre Dame on Wednesday. Lost by 29 to Kentucky. Lost by 17 to Tennessee. The only team with a pulse that Carolina has beaten all season is Michigan, which doesn't count because that's like circular logic of like
they're on the fraud
beating another
rankings.
fraud.
Yes.
Fraud beating fraud. So I'm not even sure I count that, but anyway, I don't need to tell you. North Carolina not having a great season.
No, I mean 3 strikes and they're out.
Mike Woodson is on the list as well. He was hired to be the next Juwan Howard, and I guess he kind of is. I guess like the way it's going right now. Mike Woodson is emulating.
I still believe in Mike Woodson.
They're going to beat Ohio State tonight, so he'll get it back. But Indiana 10-3 just lost to Penn State. They lost at Syracuse. The Syracuse and the optimism for Indiana is this: the 3 losses they have were all games they had, like there was in the palm of their hand. Like they definitely should have won those, could have and should have won those games. But on the other hand, it's like, how do you let 3 games slip through your fingers like that? Almost, they were destroying Wisconsin and Madison. One of the worst second half performances I've seen in college basketball history. The way Indiana completely choked that away. So anyway, moving on. Mike Woodson, 10-3. He's not. What's going on over there, Moses?
Moses is underneath the desk, and he's like trying to move my things out of the way. He's like, "Can you get this out of the way so I can lay down here?"
I brought Moses in to do the show today,
and
he's just roaming around the studio as he pleases.
It was one of those things where I didn't know, I like didn't see him go under me, and then I felt something underneath the desk, and I was like, "What is happening?"
That Jim?
Like, what is going on? He's down now. He's sleeping.
All right. So Mike Woodson's on the list of guys that are it's not going as swimmingly as we hope, but it's not a complete disaster. I don't know. Moving on. Another NBA guy that people don't think about, but played in the NBA, is now the head coach of his alma mater, Aaron McKee at Temple, who is 8-6, lost by 19 to St. Joe's. They just had a shorthanded Houston team. Houston was out like their 3 best players, I want to say, against Temple. Could not close the deal. He's 8-6 this year, and what's worse, Tate, is John Rothstein, I saw, was absolutely dragging the Temple program for shitty attendance. He's just firing off tweets about like how no one wants to show up to Temple games. And then Kevin Nagandi's in the reply. Kevin Nagandi, who went to Temple's, in his replies, Kevin Nagandi hit him with a "Who hurt you" response. So that's where we're at with the state of the Temple basketball
Kevin Nagandi
program.
is a great Philadelphia fan. Like a great Philadelphia sports, like a genuine Philadelphia sports fan. I love it.
So those are the NBA guys. Then we can move on to the main stage. These are the guys that didn't go. They didn't play.
Did you forget
NBA.
Speedy Claxton? He's in there too. At Hofstra.
Is he?
Yeah, he's at Hofstra. He's at Hofstra losing. So I just wanted to throw out Speedy Claxton in that list of just frauds. Let's put him in the list. I don't want to forget Speedy. He had a couple games where he was in there, but Speedy's in there.
He's the head coach of Hofstra?
And he played at Hofstra.
How did I miss that?
I'm just saying, throw that in there.
How good is Hofstra?
Not good. That's
all right,
what I mean. Throw him in there.
Throw it on the list. All right, then I have the main stage. These are guys that like have built a career as a coach that you might forget played at their school. Matt Painter, preseason number 7 Purdue, 12-2. Just like we covered, Matt Painter's Purdue has made the fraud power rankings twice this week. 12-2, not bad. Like we said, I think ultimately they're going to be okay in March, but still the way we're at right now,
we got to number 1.
A little disappointing.
Yeah.
Bob Huggins played at West Virginia. People forget.
People do forget.
Did play at West Virginia. West Virginia is 11-2. Not a horrible season by any stretch of the imagination. They got smoked by Texas on Saturday. Didn't have Taz Sherman. Not really counting that one, but still their best win. They basically played every single game at home. They haven't played a great schedule, so you're on the fence.
Teetering.
You're teetering.
Yeah.
But like from what you expect from West Virginia, this isn't one of Bob Huggins' best seasons.
This isn't a team where we're like, watch out for West Virginia in the tournament.
Yes.
They might make the Final Four. But maybe they would.
Who knows? But like, point is, they're not exactly killing it this year. Jim Boeheim also played at Syracuse. People forget. He is 7-7. Just lost to Miami.
Oh man, have you watched Syracuse? By the way,
I have. It is
Buddy Boeheim. Like I thought, like I would get like red in the face when I would watch Kobe sometimes. Like when he would just could take shots. That you're just like, I know no one on the team wants that to happen right now. Buddy Boeheim is on another level of green light. I've never seen someone with the green light of this guy.
I had somebody.
And he doesn't even get pulled out of games for it. I mean,
No.
like he just continues to shoot.
Of course not.
So.
I had someone text me last week, "Is Buddy Boeheim good?" And it took me 45 minutes to reply.
I mean, I think he's good.
Yes, obviously.
I think
but
he's
also,
good considering, but I don't think he deserves 20-some shots a game.
I went with this answer. I think of a guy as being good if I watch him and I say to myself, I wish I could play like that. And
Yes.
I do wish I could play like Buddy Boeheim.
Yeah, I know. I mean, give me the
So he's
green
good.
light.
I
Yeah.
settled on yes. I settled on he's definitely good. But Syracuse, not good. Syracuse is
Team is
7-7, has lost to Colgate, Georgetown, and VCU. All right, moving on to the next tier. These are names you probably know. They played at their alma maters. They are the head coaches. LaVall Jordan, who is 8-5, who at Butler, nice win at Oklahoma in overtime. We'll give them that. Kind of salvage the season. If Butler doesn't win at Oklahoma, it is a disastrous.
If they don't win at Oklahoma, he's on the hot seat.
I think so.
It's hot too.
He still
Yeah.
might be,
Yeah.
but like that's the one thing that kind of
that bided some time.
bide some time. Similarly, Anthony Grant is 8-6, and Dayton just lost to VCU at home. I think that was last night, that game, on a kind of a last second shot. Dayton has had a very up and down, completely disastrous start that was salvaged by beating Kansas, beating Belmont, beating Virginia Tech. Now they're kind of back to losing games they probably shouldn't lose. Dayton 8-6, Anthony Grant, not exactly great. Tubby Smith is at High Point. You've heard of him. He's 6-8. We can move on. They just lost by 1 million to Kentucky, but it's also High Point, so who cares?
Yeah,
We'll
you got to let it slide. Yeah.
But he did play at High Point. People forget. Jamie Dixon is the head coach at TCU. He played at TCU. People forget that. 10-1 on the season, but they've played maybe the worst schedule in America.
I was going to say
they played absolutely nobody, so I'm not going to get excited
Doesn't
about
count.
that. Who else is there? Andy Kennedy at UAB. Put him on the list. One at St. Louis, 3 losses by a combined 11 points. Actually, not a bad season. UAB is like not bad. I'll give him a thumbs up. He's doing a decent job. And then there's Dan D'Antoni, who everybody knows as Mike D'Antoni's brother, but also you might know him as Marshall had a moment in the tournament, right?
Yeah, John Elmore.
Yeah, the John Elmore team. Did they win a game or did they just like have a fun game?
I think they won a game. I think they did. But also, John Elmore was like he was basically white James Harden.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it was unbelievable. He was like he had 30 points and 15 assists in games. It was insane.
John Elmore is not on this team, and it shows. They are 7-7 this year and on a 4-game losing streak. And then finally, the last tier I have is the We Speak Your Name tier.
Ooh.
Which is guys that are coaching their alma maters, and we just want to speak your name. Jeff Bowles, head coach at Ohio University.
Nice.
They're 11-2.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're having a good
season.
year. Yeah.
They're having a good season. Kevin Kruger, Lon Kruger's son, is the head coach at UNLV. He played at UNLV for his dad. They're 8-6, and then Ben Johnson at Minnesota. His first year, great story, great turnaround story.
Ben Johnson is fun. He's a good coach.
Yeah, he's a good coach. Yeah, you like him. Yeah.
I like Ben Johnson.
Yeah, they just got their ass beat by Illinois at home, but you know.
But I like Illinois. I like Illinois too, but I call them redacted.
So anyway, that's your rundown of coaches who played for their alma mater, are now coaching their alma mater. And I would say of that group, the guys who are getting a definitive thumbs up for the job this season is gone are probably Ben Johnson, who's definitely getting a thumbs up from Minnesota fans for the turnaround.
Yeah.
Jeff Bowles.
Yep.
And then I'm putting Andy Kennedy on the list.
Jeff Bowles is going to be on the list for like coaching opportunity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like some teams are going to reach out to him and say, I want you to be my head coach. And he's probably going to say no because he wants to stay at his alma mater.
Yeah. I think those are the 3 that are killing it or at least like successful, undeniably having a good year.
Yep.
The ones who are borderline teetering, I would say, are Bob Huggins. Because like I said, West Virginia could be good, but it's like there's no West Virginia fan that's talking Final Four right now. But like they're also not bad by any stretch of the imagination. Jamie Dixon and Matt Painter, I would say. Even Matt Painter, in spite of what we've seen,
like
Matt
Purdue
Painter,
still,
he got him up to number 1, all that kind of stuff. But other than that, I would say every other coach is probably getting a big fat thumbs down for this season.
Oh, major thumbs down. Major thumbs down.
I just wanted to point that out because that is the trend. As soon as we did it when Mark Turgeon was fired. We started the first thing I did was I Googled coaches who played at Maryland and tried to figure out who Maryland's going to hire with Maryland ties that played there. That is the move in college basketball. And I guess what we're learning this year is maybe that shouldn't be the move. I don't know.
It shouldn't be the move, and I think sometimes, we are so pro-player friendly at times, and I'm saying this as a Carolina fan, that we want to blame everybody else. We want to blame the coaches. We want to blame this. We want to blame that. And it's like Roy Williams isn't the coach anymore, and North Carolina has the exact same problems because they have the exact same players.
Yeah.
I mean, at some level, you gotta just be like, hey, maybe this group isn't it. I mean, same with Notre Dame, and they were talking about it last night in that game. I mean, the group that came in, Mike Bray, the guys that are seniors now, they were supposed to build on the Elite Eight stuff that they had. Instead, this group has just not been able to collectively win games. So
it's Mike Bray's fault.
But everyone's blaming Mike Bray.
Right.
And it's like, at some point, maybe we just aren't who we thought we were, and that's okay. Just admit it, and just be upfront about it. Stop speaking about it as if it's going to change.
I think
it's not going to change.
Mike Bray should fire his GM. Is what he should do. It's nice.
I mean, I think in the world of you can transfer, maybe you just say, hey, this isn't working. Go somewhere else.
Anyway, that's number one.
That's my number one fraud. Some of the players.
The players. My number one fraud. It's like. All the players in college basketball, you're all frauds.
God,
you're my number one
fraud.
What
is going on?
Kirk Herbstreit, is that you?
I did think that. By the way, that was the funniest. That could not have worked out any better with Herbstreit and Desmond Howard saying these kids don't like football. And then the Rose Bowl was like an amazing game.
Best game, yeah.
It was awesome. I thought that was the most fun most fun moment of college football this year.
Do you want to weigh in on the opt-out? Because I do. I want to say the opt-out discussion. I want to say, as I've always said, I want everybody to opt out of every game.
Opt out.
I don't want there to be sports.
Mm-hmm.
I want sports to be what I've said this a million times. I want every single athlete to opt out of every game.
Yes.
And I want sports to just be pictures of players showing up at the arena holding a handbag and wearing like a designer sweater.
I'm also okay if
that's
we just cancel it, we shut it down, and we just watch highlights of what happened before.
Yes. And we argue about highlights that
the past.
We've all seen a million times.
Exactly.
That's what sports is to me.
I want to go to the Dean Dome, and I walk in, and they just had the 2008 season, and they're just like playing games. You can stay there as long as you want. Just stay there and hang out.
Opt out. Everybody
opt out.
Oh, adding to this discussion of ex-players trying to coach their alma maters is I wanted to point this out, is Alondo Tucker was trying to pull the Penny Hardaway and coup his way into coaching his alma mater. He gets the boot. Now Wisconsin is thriving. So that's another strike in the ex-players trying to take over. You have Kevin Ollie, who was the head coach at UConn, won a national title.
Yep.
Got the boot, got sued his own school, then they sued him back, and then there was a whole mess, and now he's coaching TikTok kids for the overtime league.
Yes.
Or whatever the hell it is he's doing. Chris Mack was the head coach at his alma mater and chased the bag, and now he has to live with that decision. So
speaking of Louisville, we speak your name. Louisville has a path to be the second best team in the ACC.
Really?
They're undefeated in the ACC, and if you look at their schedule, it is, I mean, it could not have asked for a better path to be the second best team. And then they have like this moment where they're going to meet Duke, and they're going to be like, 9-0 in the ACC, and Duke's going to be 9-0, and everyone's going to be like, man, Louisville.
They're going to hype it up.
And then Duke's going to beat them by like 40 points.
Louisville's going to be ranked 25th.
So Mike Rutherford right now, he sees
when do they play Duke? We'll have him on. We'll have Mike on after that game.
It's got to be in February. Yeah. Let's go ahead and reach out to him.
Let's wait till they win 11 in a row, and then they lose to Duke, and we'll reach out.
Yeah, we speak your name, though. They beat Pitt, and they tried to lose this game against Pitt. I mean,
what is going on with the ACC in general? I saw last night.
They played Duke at home January 29th.
There's a movement that seems to be brewing of people are floating the idea that the ACC might be a one bid league, Tate.
That's what the losers are saying, yeah.
Can you refute that?
I mean, I don't care. I could care less about conference pride. That's not something that I do not invest my time in. My only goal.
I thought you maybe just checked out on the
I
entire.
mean that too. That too.
I'm already dead.
I think the only thing that you can do in the ACC this year, and every team should have this outlook, is like, how do we stop Duke?
Yeah.
Like how do we collectively stop Duke?
That's why the Coach K tour is going to get interesting, is because I think everyone's just has nothing to lose, and
everyone's going to come together.
Yeah.
And like Wake Forest, Virginia, like everyone's pulling against Duke. You know what I mean? Because we have no other hope. That's the only hope
Stop
that you
Duke.
have. The only team pulling for Duke still is NC State, and that's because they picked Duke over North Carolina. We don't know why, but that's just what they do. Not sure why.
I feel like there might be a lot of NC State people that would disagree with what you just said. They probably picked Duke over Carolina.
Of course.
I'll give you that, but they're not pulling for Duke.
Against every team but State, they're pulling for them.
All right.
Because they're conference pride. They're SEC people. You know what I mean? They like the conference.
I do have conference pride. I have pride in the conference that I love more than any other. It is the Pac-12. It is time for the Pac-12 update. Are you ready? Very in-depth Pac-12 update this week. Here's what you need to know about Pac-12 basketball. Everybody's on COVID pause. Everybody. Name a team. They have COVID. I felt like for the Pac-12 update of just being like a news anchor in your local town who on a snow day is reading off all the schools that are on 2-hour delay or canceled today.
Yeah.
That's basically what the Pac-12 is right now.
And everyone's waiting and seeing.
Are
we that school?
Are we that school? UCLA has not played since December 11th. They just scheduled a game for Thursday tonight against Long Beach State, but no fans are allowed to go. They've already played Long Beach State. They won by like 30 when they played them earlier in the season. They are playing again just because UCLA needs a game. Arizona fans think that UCLA is dodging them, so we've now entered that. We've now entered that realm of.
That's what all the Arizona
COVID.
fans have said to me, that UCLA dodged them.
Yes, but UCLA has not played in. I do the math since December 11th.
Been a month.
Yes. USC has not played since December 18th. They're supposed to play Cal tonight. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. I'm just conditioned to wait for that tweet. It's like due to the health and safety, whatever else. Arizona had 3 games wiped off the schedule that we were very excited about. Speaking of the Arizona fans thinking UCLA's dodging, they were supposed to play UCLA. They were supposed to play at USC. They were supposed to play at Arizona State. All of those games were gone. They did come back and play Washington on Monday and beat Washington, but who cares? Gonzaga has not played since December 28th. Every West Coast Conference game this past weekend was canceled. And Colorado State returned from a 3.5-week COVID pause.
They're still undefeated, right?
Still undefeated.
Yeah.
They beat Air Force on Tuesday. They're 11-0. They're one of the 3 undefeated teams left. They have the most efficient offense, I think, in the country. So there's that. That's your Pac-12 update. It's basically COVID. Just COVID and big bold letters.
It's just like the bubble. It's just the COVID bubble.
COVID.
Yeah, I mean, it's really unfortunate because USC and UCLA should be, they're 2 top 10 teams. They should be a topic of conversation. We should be really excited. We were in Los Angeles. We should be locked in.
And maybe we will. Maybe they come back and they get the juice is loose, as we said. The juice is...
we need the juice to come back. I don't know where the juice is, but I think he's somewhere around USC, and we need him to come back.
Oh, man. I guess there are these other notes I wrote down. San Francisco beat Academy of Art over Christmas break, 111-78. That was a game we circled. Academy of Art. They beat Cal. No, Irvine beat Cal. Who did Academy of Art beat that jumped on our radar?
Was it San Francisco?
No, I forget. The whole reason we pointed this out was Academy of Art.
I just love the name. That's all I really cared about. Also, we should mention Keegan Murray versus Johnny Davis tonight. As we talked about, 2 guys that are,
they play tonight?
They play tonight.
How about that?
Yeah, so.
Dude, we got to watch that game.
Yeah, throw that out there.
Why the hell did I not, dude?
Just look up Academy of Art.
I am. I'm on there. How do I not remember this? They beat they beat UC Davis.
Okay.
That's right.
There you go.
They beat UC Davis by 19, and that's what jumped out to us because they beat the hell out of a Division I team. They got smoked by San Francisco. The dream season's over for Academy of Art, is what I was going to say. And then finally, the last Pac-12 update, Mark Gottfried, who got the show cause from the NCAA for the NC State situation, still on Cal State Northridge's bio page. He still has it. Still has the asterisk.
What?
The status quo remains unchanged. There might be hope yet. So I just wanted to draw attention to that.
I cannot believe that they have an asterisk by his name.
There's literally an asterisk on his.
Unbelievable. And also, like, behind the picture of him is a El Pollo chicken like banner behind him. Like, I mean, he is the Mark Gottfried CSUN page. We should spend time on this sometime. My goodness. Unbelievable.
What's up?
Do you know what the Academy of Art mascot is? Like what the team is called?
No.
Do you know?
I can't tell if this is going to be a joke or not. What?
No, I thought it would be the artists.
The art?
Like makes sense.
The art farks?
The artists? No. They are the Academy of Art Urban Knights.
What?
What? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Urban Knights?
Mm-hmm.
What? All right.
Look it up.
That's
I don't.
that they should have
sounds like the
gotten some more artists in
Lebowski
there.
Little
They should
Urban
have gotten some
Achievers.
more
Yeah,
artists in
just like
there.
that.
There's some
Artists
more,
would make sense though.
yeah. I mean,
The-
artists would be.
I mean,
that could be fun.
Oh,
Wow.
man. All right,
Hate
that's
to-
it. That's the Pac-12 update. Shout outs, closeouts. Wrap this thing up. You guys got anything?
Yeah, Jim has a shout out, right? Jim,
I
you wanted us to
do.
shout out, please. I wanted to hear some St. John stuff.
yes, St. John's own Julian, the man Champagny. Let me find the stat here. He is one of 3 players ever. He's the 3rd major conference player in 25 years to have 30 points, 15 boards, 3 blocks, and 3 3-pointers made in a game. He did this last night.
Big Ten stat of the day.
Jesus,
right there.
that was the most big.
Who are the
stat
other
of the
two?
day.
Can you name the other 2?
Say it again. I'll try it. I'll take a stab.
30 points,
30 points.
15 boards, 3
Okay.
blocks, and 3 3-pointers made.
Glenn Robinson's one.
No.
Damn it.
I know. That's
In the
good
last
guess.
25 years,
Doug McDermott.
Oh, last 25 years.
major conference.
He played in the Big East.
I don't even know if it's crazy.
for 1 year.
Big East
Maybe
anymore.
the Big East.
I just like that.
He played the same conference as Champagne.
I don't know. He's from Iowa.
He's like major conference. I don't know. Tell us, Jim.
Calbert Cheney.
I think those guys are all before 25 years. Beasley.
Oh, in the last 25
Michael
years? I
Beasley.
didn't catch that
25
qualifier.
years. Yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't catch that qualifier.
Beasley
Beasley's one. Yeah, I don't know. Durant?
and his friend
Durant?
KD. Yeah, Kevin
Yeah.
Durant.
So Champagne,
Julianne, the man
Beasley, and
Champagny.
Durant.
Yep.
So the real KD of college basketball.
Oh my
is
God.
Julian Champagny.
Oh my God.
So we finally figured it out.
That's
We've
the
been
KD of you know what I was
Yeah.
thinking the other day because I've started watching a little more NBA now.
Okay.
Because it's past Christmas. That's when I start watching NBA. We know who the Kevin Durant of college basketball is.
yeah.
Who's the Kevin Durant of the NBA? Would you say? Because I was watching Evan Mobley and I was like, this guy might be the Kevin Durant of the NBA.
Yeah. Evan
And
Mobley's
I think
awesome.
we should start that discussion. Who's the Kevin Durant of the NBA?
I'm gonna say this. I think Evan Mobley might be the greatest Cavalier ever. I mean, I'm like by the end of it.
This is Mark Price erasure. I don't like it.
Yeah. What about Ricky Davis?
What about Brad Daugherty, man? That's what I'm talking about.
No.
Did you see
it's
Rothstein went back to the well and said Kofi Coburn is not Shaquille O'Neal. He's not.
But then he
But-
called him the Shaquille
He's the
O'Neal of college
Shaquille
basketball. I thought that was like the tweet of the week. He said, I want to reiterate, he's not the Shaq of college basketball, but he is also the Shaq of college
We
basketball.
gotta Joey Bronk is not the Bryant Reeves of college basketball. He's not big country. Or he's not big country, but he might be the big country of college
basketball.
Who's
We-
the pit snoggle?
Let's just do a list of
That's a
like
great
our
question.
college basketball, like who of the comps. You know, who's the Steph Curry of college basketball? Who's the KD? Who's the Shaq?
Shades
Yeah.
of.
Shades of.
But I think we should just do like forgotten college basketball guys like Tom Coverdale. And we try to find who is this year's Tom Coverdale. It was Kevin Pittsnock.
Who's Rashad McCants?
Who's the
of this
Rashad
season?
McCants? Everyone wants to know.
Everyone wants
We're
to.
trying to
Everyone's
figure it out.
Everyone's trying to figure it out.
Everyone. It's all anyone's talking about.
I just
Is Johnny Davis the Rashad McCants?
Julian Champagny as the KD of college basketball is worth putting that out there because I think it does. Because then you have the stat to back it up. Because everyone's
Yeah.
like, "What do you mean?" You're like, "I'll tell you what I mean."
Yeah, that was a monster stat line last night. Man.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Who
to
they
see
play? DePaul?
DePaul. Yeah. The powerhouse,
that. the powerhouse.
the Duke of the East.
Yeah, we do the Mark Aguirre of college basketball.
Oh man. You have anything?
That's all I really have, honestly. It's
I don't.
yeah.
Danny Green had a 24
Yeah, I saw
trillion. I
that.
think. I don't think it was an actual trillion. I think he had like a foul, but
Oh,
I saw
word.
people tweeting that it was a Tony Snow.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
They lost.
I'm kidding.
They
I'm kidding.
No, they were. But Wob did it. Wob said it. Wob was like another Snow because I had people tagging me in it. So
Are you
like, let
serious?
this
I was
dude
just
go.
kidding
Yeah,
about
he's-
that.
Whatever.
I cannot.
You know, Wob. Someone told me Wob lives in Marina Del Rey by me. He lives in the apartment complex like right down the road. I can't wait to
Give out
run
his
into the guy.
address. On the air.
Someone pointed that out to me. They're like, you know, Wobb's like a Marina Del Rey guy, and I was like, really? Like, they're like, I think he lives here, and it's like the apartment complex right by.
I can't wait for that meeting on the street.
Yeah, I know.
It's just the two guys. Remember that video of the two guys that are just flicking each other off?
Yeah,
and forth?
yeah. That's gonna be-
That's what it is. Everyone's like, what's this about? It's like, it's about guys not scoring any
I think-
points
Yeah.
in the game.
We have a Club Trill shirt on. He's got a Snell hat. Snell visor.
If there's one thing the general public loves is nerds in sports media fighting with each
Arguing
other over their own
Yes.
ideas.
That's my bit.
That's my I invented power rankings.
Oh man, that's good.
I don't think I had. Yeah. Well, no, I'll save that for next week. We'll shout.
Yeah,
out
I'm
later.
sa- let's save
I'm gonna
it for
save my
next week.
shout outs. Screw it. Let's get out of here.
Just Getting Started with Rich Eisen has stories of humble beginnings and humbling moments from inspiring people. Michael Strahan,
I am scared to death, Rich. The Oscars, man. I'm not supposed to be on that red carpet.
Aaron Andrews,
What is my next question going to be? Because everybody is watching this, and this is going to go viral.
Kevin Harlan,
I'll let you in on a secret of all the things I do, Rich. It's the most fun, the most fulfilling, most challenging thing that I do.
Just Getting Started with Rich Eisen. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.